the Twitter and the YouTube. That's right. Welcome, delightful audience. Hopefully not just passive audience, but also interactive. Dear humans watching us, please enjoy yourselves and tell us what's on your mind. I'm going to retweet this post saying, currently live with Dear Simon. Join us. Give questions.
Welcome to what's it called? Gonzo. No.
Gonzo belongs
Welcome
around
to
Monzo.
Gonzo. What was it called?
GonzoCon.
Is it GonzoCon?
I don't know what you're talking about.
There was this site that just says welcome to blah blah com. Everything is possible on WomboCom. You know, whatever.
Nope, no idea. But very grateful for your participation nonetheless.
What Brombo? Somebody has to know this.
Please add a comment if you know what Simon is talking about. BomboCon.
Schwambo Mom.
We are here to talk about Bombo Schlom. It's a big day. We've been looking forward to and anticipating this conversation for months because obviously it's SchlomboCon. Those of us just joining, there's DJ Microbeats. He remembers what we're talking about. Thank God. But he is crazy. So we will not, unfortunately, know what is the Schlombo Bomb. Yes, this is a great incentive for people to chime in with their comments because you get featured on the Jumbotron. Simon, my friend.
Rich.
There's a rumor going around that it is the Euro Teapot Summer of Love 2025. Can you confirm or deny this?
I'd be hard-pressed to deny. I must confirm. It is, in fact, the Euro Teapot Summer of Love 2025. Following up in the footsteps of the legendary inaugural Teapot Euro Summer of Love 23. 24 was also the Summer of Love, but, you know, it was like it just happened. And 25 is the year, again, of making it happen.
Oh.
ZomboCom. I mean, I've been telling you, it's not that.
Jumbotron.
It's ZomboCom. Everything is possible on ZomboCom, including the Teapot Summer of Love European 2025. That's what's up.
Maybe it would be nice to talk about 2023 and to indulge in some nostalgia. To make connection with what was so sweet, because that was when we met. I think we had some profound experiences, and we're anticipating that something like that might happen again this year. What was it for you?
It was great. I mean, there was something happening in 22 where we first met, which was Medley, which brought a lot of people together in Berlin. As per the recent big lore drop thread that Moses Monk kicked off, and then a bunch of the Berliners chimed in with how the Berlin lore developed. So that was good. And 22 was also the year of the first Vibe Camp, and I believe of the first Jazz Camp, and like sort of these inaugural things. And some were lucky to be part of that. I was not. So in my, in my heliocentric worldview, as a stupid person, for me it was 23, and 23 was great because I actually bought a ticket to Vibe Camp, but it was too far away from me, so I sold it again. But instead, I came to Jazz Camp 23, which was back to back, shoulder to shoulder with Micro Solidarity Camp, Summer Camp 23, and it was wonderful. Huh?
And Chic Week was that year as well.
And Chic Week happened later in October. Yes, very much so.
The trifecta. I want to get some texture. What was your experience like? Like, why did it leave a mark on you?
It left a mark on me. Well, the most obvious one is that I thought, oh, hosting a summer camp is a wonderful idea, which eventually culminated in 3 week 24 and now 3 week 25. So that's like the very visible one. But on the more internal front, it was very inspirational to see jazz camp. I mean, for me, it was always the unruliness of jazz camp that was incredibly inspirational, how much you can do with very little official structure, and how that even seems to be conducive to great things happening. And then seeing Microsolidarity Summer Camp, which had more structure, but I was super juiced up by jazz camp, and I was like, I'm not gonna, no offense, participate in your structure very much, but I'm just gonna summer camp and hang out. And it was great. It was great because I was actually camping. For me, it was a time I had massive breakthroughs on both weeks, you know, and it was very much on the front of finding my voice, speaking the truth, and eventually what would lead me very quickly after to allowing the love and, you know, the eros to flow through me. That, and only not 4 weeks after Microsolidarity, I met a girlfriend, and now she moved into this house with me. So it was like absolutely trackable and traceable. So it was a summer of love, for real, for real.
For real. Wow. Do you think there's a connection between the truth telling and the eros?
Yes, come on, 100%. For me,
Can you can you just illustrate that story a bit more? Like, what was getting in the way of you telling the truth in the first place?
Yeah, great
You
question.
sly
Quick
dog.
question. Hey, can you hear the tram that goes past my window in the
Only
microphone?
in a very like delightful atmospheric way,
Oh,
not in an
okay,
annoying
good.
way. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, so I mean, what got into the way of the truth telling? I remember the myth, the way I told it around jazz camp had a lot to do with, I think, was what many people call owning one's desire.
Mm.
And I felt like the greatest, you know, I wrote once in, even on the cleanest porches, you know, or under the cleanest porches lie the most treacherous of sins. Because the overt sins are sort of not there, you know, there's no brazen alcohol consumption, or, you know, that, or, but then there's like, yes, everything's quite nice, but often, for example, one big sin is like tabooization, I think, is a big problem, you know, and I think I come from such a place. And so to say what you really want instead of adhering to all the implicit and maybe sometimes explicit rules around you, that was very forbidden. And but it was in the water I was drinking, you know, so, and it was a very, yeah, you know, sinless and, you know, therefore sexless and eroticless place, you know, kind of thing. You get me?
I guess you.
So, yeah.
And I'm assuming when you say drinking the water, like that you had a life that was situated in a bunch of default expectations and norms, where we're not totally transparent, we're not straightforward. And I'm assuming that spending time with these teapot kids face to face was like being thrown into a different pond. And like, I'm assuming it's something like you get to witness other people playing the game a different way and go, like, oh yeah, that's what my heart wants. I want to be doing this.
Yeah, for example, I and there's often a bit of this pang of anger in there or something, you know. For example, I remember at jazz camp, you running around, you know, giving out quests and holding court essentially, and having like sort of this very magnetizing personality. And I felt, you know, like I wasn't like I didn't get no, like I had a very good, oh, thanks bro, that's nice. Okay. Can't ignore that one. Two men who are not prone to ignore a good compliment.
Yeah, dog.
Yeah. So it's not like I was not there, but you were somewhere where I wasn't, like you had a freedom that I couldn't quite grasp. I was like, what's that about? And got a bit angry, and maybe like jealous, I suppose. And then, but I often find myself sort of chilling in a mode of being quite happy with what I have, and then so I had a good time. But then at some point, yeah, I think a lot of people, to your point, were around who were on a similar quest of owning desire, doing what they want in a completely sandbox mode, free play, do what you want. It's chess camp, and I was like, well, what do I want? And what is it? And which, calls to cooperation and stuff we want to do I follow and stuff. And then for me, the key moment was playing a game of Hot Seat, which is a game where you sit around and you get cooperatively and lovingly put on the spot, and then people really drill you. And when you sort of speak the truth, then, or either way, in the end, you get group hugged, and what you said is okay, and sort of very much a good technology. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll play a game of Hot Seat, not that I could, And then our mutual friend Brent drilled me so hard that it even hurt, but it was right. And it was very much about me owning my desires, including erotic and sexual desires, and yeah, saying what I think and saying what I want. And I noticed how much of my throat chakra, despite me obviously being a relatively eloquent speaker, again hiding in this everything is good, but there's one thing here that can't be spoken. Well, that's no place to be. And it literally, this little ritual of the Hot Seat, like slapped me around so fundamentally. And then suddenly I talk to people that that I'm interested in them, or say what I want more and more, and suddenly people come to me and tell me they're interested in me, and I'm like, holy shit, suddenly so much movement is unlocked there. And fast forward 2 years to now, or 1 year later, I'm inviting people to my own event. 1 year later now, I'm inviting people to my own event again, but I'm also trying to build a business in a whole nother and I'm in love, and so it really you can pinpoint it. It's an interventional moment, an intervention, and everything was different afterwards. I will tell this to my grandchildren.
Yeah. This is interesting to me because I've mostly got to know you after that intervention, and I know you as an exceptional truth teller. Like it feels like a significant pillar in your personality structure. Like Simon's the one that's going to call me on my shit when everyone else is just quietly frustrated and not saying anything. And it just makes me wonder, you must have been really pent up. Like the truth seems really important to you, but you are living in a way where it's like, it doesn't know how to come out.
I had it available in most parts, but A, way less skillfully, and B, very much not in the realm of sex, eroticism, desire, carnal. The carnal part was not available. Sort of let's behave nicely and keep order, and that kind of thing you're referencing, where I'm like, hey, I think you're a bit out of line there, sir, or I think you're contradicting yourself, like, whereas the integrity part I had available, but that got more skillful, I think. Like I got at the same time more quick to the point and less judgmental, partly because of the becoming more nimble, and I 0 to 1 the carnal part. Very important for my life as a enjoyer of the erotic, I think.
Very nice. Benedict, who's coming to Tree Week? And my recommendation, Benedict is a very solid bro. I want you to know about Benedict. He's coming to Tree Week. He wants to be drilled, and you can drill him with unrelenting intensity.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very robust fellow.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to meeting you, Benedict. And I think the motto of last year's Tree Week was, or the motto I weaved in sort of, and I think it will definitely still be there, is let's be honest with each other and be nice to each other. And I think it's sort of a koan, like a yin yang. They chase each other, because if I'm nice to you, as previously discussed, I won't always be honest, because it's not always nice to be honest. But at some point, the need to be honest is higher, right? And then after being honest, we can come back to being nice, and it's a nice tension field in which great things can emerge.
There's a live chat. Yes, Inkolo. It's great to have your question in the chat. Everyone's welcome to participate. We might not get to everyone, but we do love to hear from everybody. Is Rich coming to Tree Week? No. Rich is earning a living. I'm going to be doing well. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'll fly in for a day or something. But I have to. I'm trying to get a business off the ground, so I've got to be doing that. I wondered, Simon, if it's interesting for you. I'm interested in like 17 things. I want to check if you're interested in giving a little narrative about Tree Week 1, Tree Week 2, especially focusing on like the intention. What is the design principle, or what outcome are you seeking, or what's in your heart?
Yes, I would love to do that. I'm very interested in that, and I want to do that. So, very much coming off the story I just told off of Rich's gracious questions. The jazz camp was unbelievably inspiring to me, so I always highly suggest going there. It's the great it's a what do you say, pioneering event in this scene, I think.
It's the mother culture.
The mother culture, and it's really wonderful. And there's always a cool new location to be found every year. And I thought, well, I'm not much of a, so my initial design principle came from the inside of myself. So I said, well, who am I? And for a long time, I've had the narrative that I'm a tree. It came to me in a psychedelic episode that the tree is a wonderful metaphor I have on my Substack. I have the tree manifesto: live life slowly and full of intent, sort of the slow development of the tree, the slow but undeniable growth of the tree, and very much, so I thought around this lore, around this myth, I would love to build my event that I would like to imbue with the same spirit. So, and I think we are fundamentally a developmental community. Everybody who's coming to these events, most people are interested, for me, as a philosopher. And to me, philosophy means, figuring out all these things, how life works, but also to live it, to not just talk the talk and to walk the walk. I think this is the modern day philosophy we want to partake in. I think the time of dusty talkers is over. You also got to do it. And we're all trying to develop. We all want to learn to talk to each other better. We all want to do the work that invigorates us. We all want to live lives full of love and truth. Yeah, and I mean, again, Jazz Camp, I was like, holy shit, there's like so much love and truth here. And Microsolidarity, the same. There's a playground for I can't tell, I learn to trust you because you're a big dude, but I can't tell you, like, hey, what's that about? And you will react graciously, and I think this spirit of the spirit I want around everywhere. So I always thought in my life, well, one day I will get all my friends together. And I thought, well, maybe when I get married, And I thought, when I saw Jazz Camp and Mike Solidarity Summer Camp, I was like, I can just do that. You can just do things, you know. And so 3 week 1 last year, 24, was like what I would have, like this vision I already had in my head. Beautiful house, all the elements are present, and there's plenty of food, and there are plenty of friends. You know, the 4 Fs: food, fun, friends, and freedom. And that's what 3 week is built around. You're coming there, you know who's there, you have a week to have fun together. There's some space to do some workshops, there's a garden, there's trees and the forest, and you can go, you can do what you want, and you will always be fed. And so you don't have to worry too much about nothing, you know, you can just hang out. And it appears to be life-changing. And why that is, maybe you could say something about that, because you're the vibe mechanic.
Yes. Why that is? I think we are mammals. Seems to be that we're currently living in an age where we pretend to be individuals that have clean boundaries and that we can slip past each other like molecules in a gas. But actually, we're liquid. We're all smushed into each other. And the people you associate with fundamentally set the constraints of who you can be. And most of the people that spend a bunch of time making friends on Twitter, their motivation is that they are not surrounded in person by the right kind of molecules. You know, they feel undernourished. They don't see themselves represented in the people that are around them. And then suddenly to be surrounded by open-minded, open-hearted people that are exceptionally intelligent, often exceptionally high integrity, exceptionally high openness, willing to try stuff. Suddenly, it's like a lot of us have had this experience, I think, of being pent up. Like, yeah, I have this developmental imperative, but I'm stuck. And I'm like growing in tension. And the missing ingredient was just to have the right companions. And when you find them, and especially when you find them at the scale of 30, 40, 50, 60 people, like enough to almost overload your social brain, like, whoa, there's millions of us. It's like tremendously encouraging. And it's not just fun, you know, fun doesn't kind of cut it for me. There's something much more meaningful than that. It's potentially transformative. I wondered about, you emphasized the freedom. And I think there's something else in your formula that you're not naming, or that's sort of implied in between the gaps. Like if you put a poster up somewhere in a street in Berlin and you said, we're going to have food, fun, friends, and freedom, please come to my house. I don't know if it would work the same as what you did with 3 week, which is more curated, more careful about who comes. There's more intentionality in it. And I wanted to know a little bit more about what's the dark matter. Like, what is it, that gravitational pull? Yeah, I just want you to keep illustrating for me what's the longing in your heart that calls this thing out of you.
My mission is I think my mission in life that more and more crystallizes is that I want to help people get along, and I want to help people talk to each other better. And I seem to more and more be devising a formula around that, despite it being relatively hard to put into words. And I tend to undersell it, as you just pointed out, which I'm thankful for. And yeah, so what's the dark matter? It's like I'm both extremely open to people and extremely loving, and I'm also extremely discerning and relatively judgmental. And so I sort of uphold a standard that I'm trying to make quite easy to meet. And I think the standard is something like, like be willing to cooperate, and everyone has flaws, including you. And so, like sort of introspection for my overconfident friends, and you are extremely lovable for my self-flagellating friends or something. And I have, around this principle, been very discerning. I've had cases of people where I'm either, I'm sorry you can't come last year, and also I'm sorry, you won't come again for this year. That's sort of the admission here. And I think my readiness to do that, despite the discomfort that comes, I'm sure, for the other people, and I'm sorry about that, and also for me, in having these difficult conversations. And in turn, my immense ability to care for and love as a host, and which has a trickle-down effect for those people who are there. That's the thing I can describe most as the secret sauce. I mean, 3 week 1, I personally spent essentially in a fugue state, which I'm sure you know as an organizer, because you're holding up this space and this web of psychic possibility. Yes, and so this is my, this is sort of my promise and my invitation. Come to 3 week, and the likelihood that you'll get along with a lot of people, not with everybody who does, but everybody here, you can love everybody, you don't have to like everybody. So that's also often my principle, but it's an overpouring of love for me into the people and into the project.
Yeah, I think you're similar to me, that of course we can't guarantee you'll get along with everybody, but as a host, my responsibility is to optimize the conditions. We really make it the most probable outcome is that you find lots of really solid people, lots of meaningful relationships, lots of silliness, lots of powerful impacts.
And part of the secret sauce is also that I do not encourage this. Like, there's no system for you to find your people. Again, there's sort of the tough love part where it's like, well, you'll find them, but like you'll have to be yourself. Like, the system I offer is the event, but it's not deeper than that. Come and you commit yourself to this experience, and you'll see who you are, in the space of where you're held, and roof and food and friends, and like see who you are, see what you want, see what you don't, see how you behave, and know thyself. It's a philosophical event, and I think one more thing that I'm sure you'll share, and I'm curious about how you feel about this, is, well, I used to be an outsider very much. The way you described it, the experience of where are the people who are like me, everywhere I'm bouncing off, I'm not normal enough, or not weird enough, or just and I have so much compassion for people. Of course, a little bias from my personal experience also towards young men who feel a bit not in their strength. I think now I feel pretty universal about men and women, and I want all people to have a clear story for themselves, a clear myth, who they are. I think that's very, very good for the psyche. And I guess you've also had the experience of not necessarily having a clear, nice basin for you to lie your identity into or something.
It's a big part of the motivation for me, is knowing the profound suffering of isolation and feeling like an outcast. Like, I'm just super sensitive to it now, and I can often pick up on it before someone even recognizes it in themselves. And I'm attracting people to my team, on my organizing team. They also have those sensitivities and have just exceptional care for the ones that are feeling left out, and know how to make those graceful moves to just weave them in. And in many cases, you don't even notice it happening. It's just someone quietly paying attention and saying, like, oh yeah, that person, I'm going to sit next to them at dinner. And it's just the tiniest little contrivance for 3 seconds of making that choice. And then it starts the process of weaving people in. And it's kind of effortless when the intention is straightforward.
Yeah, I care about this a lot. Not always. It's sometimes hard to do in person, but I really like direct. I think you're a bit better of finding the directness there. I've seen you do this often, and I'm always very touched and impressed by this. But for me, it's kind of like the event, the surrounding, and the culture for that I believe trickles through. Like and so my invitation at this point is come to Tree Week, of course. And maybe you can put it into the chat there. It's simonohler.com/treeweek-2. This is exactly, and that's you can come there. It's close to Berlin, and the great thing that happened last year, like sort of the proof that I have in the pudding a bit is we have a great KPI, makeouts and flirtations at event. Obviously the numbers are confidential, but they're incredibly high. And then a wonderful KPI that I know you also care about is matched couples at event. And currently I know about one for sure, which is an unbelievable success. And definitely one, and like maybe one more or something that anyway, this is also private for the people involved, but it is a great feeling. And for example, one other thing is, because it's a free-to-play event, but there's a lot of stuff to do because we're still self-managed. There's like a lot of work, there's dishes to be done, there's food to be cooked. And I know people who came to the event who were like, I can't cook, but then they cooked a lot. And one of my great sources of pride and joy here is that my young brother Lucas is my head chef. And together we built an excellent food system last time. And he was 22 at the time. And he was like, I don't know how to cook for 75 people. And I was like, I will help you and we will do it. And not only, and I helped him in the preparation, but on site, everybody helped him. And everybody at some point stood in my brother's kitchen. Also shout out to Jesse Hinterlander, who pulled some long shifts there. I think I could have planned this a bit better, but which we're doing this year. We're doing a way better like kitchen system and stuff. But this, yeah, people helping other people exist, whether it's emotional or actually feeding each other. And I think that's also part of the secret sauce is the at this baseline of existence. We're just living together. We're just feeding each other. This is not a event to realize your great work ambitions. Unless you want that, then find your little crew for that and do that. It's the event to celebrate autumn and be merry, So and people like feeling useful like that, and you can integrate yourself into a little society that we pitch like a tent for a week, and so you're invited. This is a beautiful thing.
I'm curious about the bigger picture, where this fits inside. I have from the conversations we've had so far, it sounds like Tree Week 2 is not exactly a rerun of Tree Week 1. That the context has changed, the mythic journey. We're at a different chapter. The vibe has shifted, and obviously the teapot vibe is this emergent, chaotic, undefinable beastie. So we're not going to attempt to pin it down, but just from your corner, what are you seeing, or how your attention has shifted? Like what might be different in 2025 compared to a year or two ago?
It's a good question. I mean, I feel like the builder vibe shift, like 3 week one was a very, I kind of like ratcheted up, was like, I got to do this, and so it had these idiosyncratic elements to it that made it artful and beautiful, but also not that sustainable. And it feels like the question of how to sustain ourselves. I know some people's sabbaticals are like, the trust funds are running out, the personal ones that people build or something, maybe. And so for me, for 3 week 2, I said, I'm not going to do it unless I have a team, because I grew this way through 3 week, right? I'm talking about the guests and what can you experience as a guest. But of course, I grew a lot, and I want to give more responsibility, like I did to my brother in the kitchen. I want to give to the others. So that's one thing we're changing internally. I have a little team together. It's very different from last year. I had a lot of helpers, my friends, last year, but this year everybody said, no, we're probably doing our own thing. And that's also the vibe shift, that everybody's like, yeah, thanks for the invite, Simon, but we got to do our own thing. We can't, because I'm like, this is also a teapot, right? Everybody is a gosh darn individual, right? And there's this, and I'm curious how you see this, because we're in the business of growing up, right? Kind of. So what do you see? What's happening? And you can come because you're running your own casa.
Yeah. There's the switch from first priority is to find the others. Okay, we've achieved that. A lot of us have achieved that. There's some lovely people. And then, yes, what you described as the vibe shift towards building. I want to not just spend down my savings, but I actually want to have a livelihood. And probably I don't want to do that on my own. I probably want to do that with a crew. And then the other piece, which has been, I feel like I've been harping on this to the point where it can be irritating. There's something about the balance between freedom and form, the structure and the structurelessness, that I think there was a sweet spot a couple of years ago where all you had to do was to say, we're going to meet at this place at this time, everyone come, let's have a good time, and you can guarantee exceptional experiences. And that's a honeymoon phase, in my opinion. It's really nice. Everyone's getting really jolly. But then conflicts happen, or as they say, the top of the funnel expands, like a wider group of people start showing up, and the diversity of people, or the diversity increases, the shared understanding, the implicit norms decreases, the density of social fabric decreases as these events touch more people. And in my philosophy, there needs to be a little more, the intent of the host has to manifest as certain kinds of structure, whether that's like being really careful about who's invited, or like you're describing with delegating responsibilities to a team, or the way that I do events where there's going to be more, I'm trying to still find the sweet spot, that you're not like in school and feeling like there's a classroom and someone's telling you what to do all day, but also we're making active interventions. We're like creating social architecture that just encourages or gives people repeated opportunities to step outside of their habitual mode, and they can find a different way of communicating. So like, for example, at our last co-living week that we did here at Casa Tilo, a lovely little group of people, and we just, we have, as with all these teapot events, it's self-organizing. People can offer anything, they can do anything they want. And as hosts, we just made sure that every afternoon there was like a hour or 2 hours, which is going to be focused on some kind of peer support. So if that's like, you've got something on your heart and you want to be heard, like there's going to be someone who wants to listen to that. Or if it's you're doing a project and you could really do with some advice or coaching, there's going to be someone that's there for that. by just offering this heartbeat every afternoon, saying, we don't know what's going to happen during the day, but there's always this one thing. It's like our weighting one side of the dice, so that we're not maximizing our hanging out, we're maximizing for connection or whatever else intentions that we have,
Yeah.
And this is actually, I wanted to pick up before you mentioned, right at the start, you said something about, before, hey, look, I'm dreamy. I'm washed out. My camera, there we go. I'm back. Oh, I feel like I'm Ken the Cowboy. Take your reaction gifts now.
Mammalic existence intensifies.
Intensifying. I wanted to talk about how I'm annoying. I don't know if you've noticed. You said something even at the start about that you were very graceful, and you said something about how you might have been jealous of me being direct or like being energetic and commanding the attention of the room. And when you're jealous of someone, sometimes you feel like, oh, this guy sucks. But I don't think your jealousy is the full story. Like, there's also something fundamentally irritating about someone who attempts to command the attention of the room. And I wanted to explore more into that dynamic and get a better. I basically have this view of hosting responsibility, that you're walking on a tightrope and you can fall left or right. And on the left, you have neglect, where the host says, oh, everyone is responsible for themselves. And I'm sorry, your drinks got spiked. And then on the right-hand side, you have the authoritarian, who's just like, oh, I'm so sensitive to people feeling left out. I will have to engineer every social encounter to make sure no one has any bad feelings ever. And so I've always been paying attention to this dynamic, and I think it plays out in Tpot. You keep different events, you see them swing one way or the other. And I wanted to just hear more about what's annoying about the one who, tries to organize too much, tries to take too much responsibility. Like, what's wrong with that?
Well, I think the fundamental, assuming that you're right, accepting your proposition that's annoying, which we can discuss. I would say that it's very important in the business of growing up and helping others doing that, and then obviously always participating oneself. That's the most important thing. Is to leave people to their own devices in an appropriate amount. I mean, that's exactly what you're pointing out, right? So my initial thought when you proposed the scenario, I said, I agree with everything except for me, in my feeling, the middle is not a tightrope, but it's actually a solid thing, like the Yoshi map in Mario Kart 64, where you're driving on like mountains and they have ridges, but it's a street, right? But it doesn't have you can still fall off, but
no guardrails,
but it is not a tightrope. It's actually like it fits the car, or it fits the gate, the normal gate kind of. You have to pay attention though. If you're like whoop-de-doo, you don't want to be tripping too hard on that road, and so I mean, both are failure modes. I mean, I'm not like, unless you want to really get into it, I'm not like super intent on, telling you're annoying. I think, so every event has its idiosyncrasies. I mean, 3 Week is full of elaborate Google forms. To buy a ticket, you have to fill out a Google form. This is essentially you sending me a love letter. Simon, I accept that you're a weird German who loves forms. Like, essentially, I'm forcing people to buy into my retarded, bureaucratic shadow. It's like, I gotta know your details so I can send invoices because that is how I process the money. That's me. I mean, that's how I'm annoying. And people are like, Simon is sending another form, isn't he? It's not a Stripe link, is it? Nope. I don't know. For some reason, it's not. And then I'm annoying to myself because I have to process all the invoices. But it's also kind of fun. And here you have sort of the mix of, it's high touch because I'm having email contact with every single attendee. I actually care about that. I want to penetrate your inbox with my invoice. May I? Please.
This is the Eros you were talking about.
It is. Please wire me the money directly to my bank account. There's something there. I mean, Money Shadow, talk about it. Help me, please. If somebody's out there, please help me. But so when I'm at the event, I'm like, yeah, the kids are fine. Never disturb a playing child. It's like, I don't have to do anything. And then maybe there's a little bit of like, the food people are eating. So maybe there's a little bit of like neglect or something. But it's my balance. And instead of blaming you for something or something, you tell me what's your balance. How does it work for you, or what would you like to work?
I will, but I want to pause because you asked for help there about your Money Shadow, and it was a little discreet little blip out the side, and I wanted to have the billboard version. What kind of outcomes are you looking for? This is because it's not just the summer of love; it's the summer of asking for help.
It is the summer of asking for help. It is the summer of funding ambitious projects via the immeasurable power of Twitter.com. Yeah, well, I mean, what's the question? What help do I need?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right. All right. Well, that's so difficult, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I am currently in the process of building a business that's not 3 Week. 3 Week is sort of like, I don't consider it a business currently. It's a project, a very nice, complete side project. But I want to build a business around my preference for communication, which has to do with conflict, mediation, and kind of what we're already alluding to, sort of being honest with each other and treating each other well in the work realm. The scaffolding for love that is, for example, 3 Week, but in the realm of work, more traditional work. And I'm learning to do like marketing and saying things in like short ways that convince people of doing stuff or something. That's the road I'm on, and it's pretty difficult, I think, because I'm a verbose motherfucker and I like to like ramble, and in between the rambles there's like some essence that comes out. And I mean, I think I would love to get some chances to work with people in sort of a very smooth way. And I think I'm sometimes a bit square about money, a bit like sometimes I'm a bit like I charge too little, I charge too much. I'm like and I'm trying to be like, but it's all cool and we can work it out. And I have some successes like that. But yeah, there's this one dude on Twitter, I forget his name right now, who's like Money Shadow work. I already told him, yo, if you've got some space in your calendar, like I want to talk to you. He didn't yet, but does that make sense? Is that a call for help, or is it because I'm doing the ramble? I don't fucking know, Richard.
No, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. What's the destination you want to get
to? Wonderful abundance. And what I want to do is, on a given day, let's say on like 10 to 20 days in a month, I want to pack my little bag. I want to walk through Berlin to somebody else's place, which is an office, and people are like, Simon, now help us with your magic words. And I go, blah, blee, blue, blah, 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 blah. And then and I'm like, blah, 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 blah. And if you need anything else, let me know. Goodbye. And they're like, that was 2,000 euros. Very well spent. We feel very different now. we should call this guy again and recommend him to all our fellow businesses. That's what I want to get to.
I see.
That's what I want. This is my wish.
You're the local doctor.
Yeah, like
The little briefcase.
Yeah, very much briefcase, cane, or umbrella, depending on the weather, hat, like modern day Carl Jung mixed with some. Yeah, I think I'm currently quite Jung-pilled. Just come by. The doctor is in / priest / mystic. It's all the same thing. Be like, we are suffering, and I'm like, I know. Here are some ancient stories. And they're like, we feel relieved, and we can do things a little bit better. We'll call you again in 3 to 6 months. I'm like, it would be my utmost pleasure, and I love you. And I'll come by for free. Like after you've paid me once very well, I'm always your friend.
And so the obstacle to this dream, which feels quite realistic to me, is that money is filthy.
I don't feel like that anymore.
What's getting in the way then? You don't deserve it? You're a little shit?
No, it's not that. No. I'm just not that practiced. I just need some practice. I don't know. I don't want to underplay my problem, but maybe I don't know exactly I'm trying. I think I'm getting closer. I'm just in the process of figuring it out. I don't know. I don't know if I have a huge bad meme. It used to be money bad, like money, commerce bad. But I don't feel like that. I'm starting to love commerce, and I love how do you feel? I'm curious.
There's different things. There's different kinds of money.
Yeah.
There's revenue and there's finance. I love revenue. I'm good enough at selling things and getting paid for them. And now I'm on my next chapter, which is like investment, financing, capital. Like we're trying to do something that is bigger than my savings will allow. I need to borrow or be given or make some arrangement where I get to use your money to get something off the ground. And that we're not just talking about revenue anymore. We're actually talking about wealth. And wealth, it's not dirty, but I have repeatedly used this metaphor. Like I do feel like how a teenage guy thinks about sex, like, give it to me and I'm so dumb.
Just something.
Yeah. Can I touch you? And so I've been being more intentional about kind of hanging out with wealthy people and talking about money with my existing wealthy friends and trying to understand how does someone who, like I've always lived, I grew up working class. I've always been in a sort of precarious, getting by, doing okay. I'm not complaining, but really don't have a lot of padding. But how does someone who is sitting on a fat stack think about that stack and how they allocate it? And been spending time with people and trying to get inside their head. And it's weird. It's really weird because rich person is not a real category. Like every wealthy person you meet is completely different from all the rest. Like it's not the right category to be exploring. Like I'm realizing how
it's like men.
Naive. Yeah. Oh, men are like this. Yeah.
Thanks very much for that.
We had a bro here at Casatilo 2 weeks ago, and he just had such a graceful way of showing up and saying, Rich, I want to know what it's like to take responsibility for a community space, and I want to be your friend. And he did it in a gentle way that didn't freak me out. And what I let him know was like, well, right now, the big thing on my mind, the big stress is about money. It's like I borrowed a bunch of money to get this project off the ground, and it weighs on my mind, and I'm terrified that I can't keep my promise. And what is that going to say to my reputation and to my relationships with these people and for the viability of my vision and all these things. And his conclusion was, Rich, the problem is you took on debt to fund an altruistic project. Like, you're giving a gift. It's clear that the people are coming, just similar experiences like you had at Jess Camp, or that people are likely to have at Tree Week. Like, the motivation is the benefit of all beings. And to use a private instrument, which is like a debt that I'm personally holding to my friends, it's like a distortion in the design. And he said, you need to fund the next stage with gifts, not with debts. And I'm going to send you $5,000. And we're going to start the trend of gifts. And then the next day, another person gave me $5,000. And then a week later, we got the third $5,000. And people have also been giving smaller amounts, 2,000, 1,000, some 20, there's been lots of different contributions. And it's so exciting to receive money on these terms, which is, I believe in the vision. I believe that you will make whatever inscrutable choices that support the magic to arrive. Go and have fun with this thing. We're not expecting any recompense. There's no demands. Do what you will. We trust you. Like, that's a lot of fun. So that's what I'm currently learning about. And it's the necessary ingredient for doing anything more ambitious than a temporary gathering. Like, if we want to build infrastructure for this scene and for this culture and for this way of doing life, we need to be commanding many more zeros in the bank account.
And in this process, and thank you for sharing that in such a transparent and joyful manner, and it makes a lot of sense. I love the click it made for me also, with you built it on debt, now build it on gifts, or sort of in the big wig world of VCs, it's built on faith. I mean, like, VCs are faith businesses, right? It's like you're saying things that evoke faith. The startup guy says a thing that evokes faith in the VC, and it's like, that one, and the odds are horrible. Everybody knows this, right?
Yeah.
And so in the spirit of evoking faith, maybe can you restate here what the mission / your mission is? Maybe this would be enjoyable because I notice we're a bit in the sort of organizer mindset. I would really like to bridge also to people listening who are like, what are these dudes talking about, and like the 3 week goer, the Casatilo goer, like what mission are they participating in? What's your view on that?
Okay, so
because everybody who goes is bringing a gift, right? Everybody who goes is a gift. Yeah.
So you would have seen this meme going around recently. I don't know if I can even impersonate it. There's the stick figure.
Don't fall down, but please do it.
The stick figure who's doing this, leaning. I'm going to arch my back. I'm sorry, it's not very convincing.
It's pretty hot.
Post some lore about yourself. And I told a little story about my history, where at the start of 2011,
1 billion views, by the way. Sorry to interrupt. The original meme had 1 billion views. Can you believe that?
1 billion. 1 billion views.
So many zeros.
The law that I posted was, at the end of 2011, I was roughly homeless, jobless, protesting on the front lawn of City Hall. And 1 year later, I was being paid to advise City Hall on matters of democracy. I had a glow up. And a couple of years later, I was advising the city of Seoul, the, I think, 4th largest economy in the world. And where did that glow up come from? Is it that Rich is a wonderful being? He has some special angel touch? No. I think I'm I have some gifts, but I'm just pretty normal, like I'm the same configuration of some talents and some very wobbly, crooked timber like everyone else. This is a small example of this advising the cities thing. It was also just generally in my life, I was in a state of flourishing. Like I was crossed the threshold from feeling without purpose, feeling isolated, feeling like a loser, feeling like I had no opportunities, like I had no hope for the future, and then cross the threshold into flourishing, where not only am I doing very well, but people around me are getting the benefit and they're also being uplifted. Now, what happened? A small number of generous people came into my life and they took care of me. That's it. People that were more trustworthy, more generous, more caring than my immediate family, my best friends up until that time, that they saw or they knew something, they had access to some kind of specific targeted encouragement that said, Rich, I know what you're capable of. And I know that you have fears and those fears are rational, but we're going to disarm them one by one. And we're going to polish that diamond that lives in your chest. And you're going to grow up and you're going to be something that you're proud of. And the dynamic range between start of 2011 and start of 2012, like it's impossible for me to communicate the upgrade in my quality of life. And it's literally due to like 4 or 5 people who are generous and open-hearted. And since I've made that transition, number one, I've never come down from that height. Like I always have this metaphor of like a bird of prey that's, flying on the updrafts. I feel like I got up high enough that I've never had to touch the ground since then. And the enormity of the improvement in my life and the light touch, like the low investment, what it took was just a couple of generous people giving me their attention, taking me seriously, holding me to a standard, giving me encouragement. It's like, I have no choice. Of course, this is my mission now, to take someone, whatever state they're in, and just gas them up until they become the more full version of themselves. And for a lot of the people that I meet, they are stuck and contorted because horrible things have happened to them and no one gave them the due consideration so that they could process their experience and come out the other side of it. And often all it takes is like 3 or 4 days in a row where people care how you're doing and they listen. And they're obviously in a state of emotional attunement with you. Like you can shake off 20 years of developmental trauma in 4 days of hanging out with lovely people that are paying attention and being responsive to you and your needs and your interests and your excitement. Like, this is very profound. It's really profound. And it's easy. It's easy as a host to create this experience for people. I'm not doing it. People are doing it for each other. I'm making sure there's groceries and there's hot water in the shower. And I just keep seeing, and this is the reason people keep showing up with little packets of $5,000 to say, please keep going, Rich. What you guys are doing is great. Is because, not because we have some agenda and some magic method that if you just submit to my guru plan of these 5 steps, do these yoga poses and no. We're going to be normal together. And you're going to find the transformative power of being a mammal around other trustworthy mammals. And it's just so potent. It's so potent, and it's cascading on a self-sustaining, self-catalyzing path like a wildfire. And it's popping up all over the world. And it's imminently accessible. You can go to any one of these events that we keep naming. You can not even show up to the events and just do it online and find that there are good companions waiting to meet you. Much better than the people that have mistreated you in the past.
Word up and bless up. I'm very touched by your story. I don't think I've heard it like that from you.
It's so hard to convey how much of a loser I was. Like you can imagine because you can see it on me a little bit. But I have a lot of confidence now because I've had, 14 good years in a row. And it's hard to imagine who I was, where I was so shriveled up and really, I hate myself. I'm a pointless human. No one out there is trustworthy. I can't look someone in the eyes. I don't have a voice.
Those serotonin levels are atrocious, bro. Where's your serotonin at? Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I think I know it, and many know it. And this is, I think, to come back to a question from before a bit about the dark matter and the secret sauce. Like, one of my beliefs is that maybe not everybody, but a lot of people are wizards, like bona fide, actual motherfucking wizards. And what you're describing, this opportunity to come together following this kind of call, which selects you sort of into this. Yeah, for some people, it's a call to be among those who treat you well. And for some people, and that can be the same people, there's an overlap, but it can be a call to be wizardly and kingly and nice, super nice to others, and to beam the love of understanding and love from their eyes and from their hearts and from their pores into other people's souls and vice versa. And and that's your story too. It's somebody saying, hey, grab you by the collar and say, you're made for more. Help those people. You can. They want that. And when I talk about my problem of that you asked me about, what do you want to do right now? It's like, I feel very useful in preparing Tree Week, because very much like you, I know what this brings to the people, and it's an unquestionable motion. I don't think twice about getting up in the morning and be like, yeah, gotta get people there, because I need it and they need it and the others around them need it. And the other part that I want is the same for sort of my professional life, where I want to talk to leaders and be just incredibly useful and be like, and this I think in the money shadow conversation, weaving some things together here, it's like, I think a lot of that is the question of, can I be useful? Like, am I worth something? In a sort of, many people, like I have sort of a baseline of, among others, I feel pretty valuable. But the money game is then, can I take part in the game of wealth or of service? Be of service, and yeah, that's the feeling of being useful is not talked about enough. I think that's a lot of serotonin comes from that. It's like, somebody comes to you and is like, hey, Rich, this event or being at Casatila was like this, and you're like, gets you a bit higher on the upwinds, right?
Yeah.
And when I talk about the Tree Week KPIs of making out and flirtation, I'm like, yes, it's the summer of love. Last year 24, and now it's again 25. And like, all of you on the internet who have been reading tweets but haven't mammaled together, it's like, come to Jazz Camp or Casatilo or to Tree Week, and this is so worth it. Make something of it. Your whole nervous system is waiting for that wonderful gut punch that will change you around. I don't know. It's beautiful.
There's a little more that I think I want to say, because I told you the vision of, why would I like people to come together, come to our events, come to my house, come have a good time. And well, because I want you to be uplifted. And there's more, that's the right now thing that's on offer. But there's a bigger destination, which is the village. I don't want it to be temporary. I don't want it to be a visit. I want it to be a way of life. It is a way of life for me, but yeah, I have a vision of many families living in a neighborhood, not with any firm boundary or central committee that decides who's in or what the rules are, but just people who have decided to live near each other autonomously and collaborating at the edges and cooperating and lifting each other up, and behaving like a village or a congregation or extended family. That just seems like the good life. You know, that you have a kid and the kid has 15 aunties and uncles that live on the same street. Seems like obviously a good thing. Or even three
I
streets over.
I want this very deeply and very intensely.
And so what I'm doing with Casatilo is just building a business that has a provable business model so that I can get the finance to buy my house in the neighborhood. And I'm also recruiting who else wants to live in this neighborhood with me. And I would like to propose that these lovely events that are happening are also part of that intake process. And not all to come to my neighborhood, but for people that are on a quest to take responsibility for incubating more powerful social fabric. Building a high trust society. Like what more treasure is there than that?
And I think that also, that's where I think I like to plug in with the idea that we allude to sometimes, and we've talked about in past podcasts, you and I, or we tend to talk about it a lot, which is like, a very healthy way of dealing with conflict. Because I think people, and maybe even the people we're speaking to, are like, but do I want to be close to people though? Because of what you said, because people, the experience you have maybe with people, like men or rich people, like, it's like, well, they don't treat me that well. And it's like, yeah, but are you just talking about, your mom and your dad and your weird uncle, or have you actually met people? Because there are people for you, that want you where you're a node and they are a node, and they need you. They've been looking for you, they want to be friends with you, they want to be in love with you, they want to not like you that much but be a great business partner to you. They want to be a neighbor that says hi to you every 3.5 days. That they want that, and they need you exactly for that specific pace and for the specific space. But inevitably some will be close to you, some will live in your house, some come from your loins, and these people they want to get along well with you and you with them. And this is, I think, a huge goal. I mean, that's why maybe I'm just projecting, but I feel a little bit universal about my goal. And what I always wanted from my surroundings is like, hey, we have different opinions. Well, let's state them nicely. Let's see what we do about it. Let's get creative about it. And let's not be such weirdos about it. Like, what is all this power for? Why do we need to suppress and tabooize and whatnot? That I'm so annoyed. Like, just like, you say your thing, and I'm like, aha, interesting. Okay, I say my thing, you kind of do the same, right? And then it's like, and then let's like shuffle the fucking decks, eh? And then let's figure it out. And still, I mean, that's what I'm. What? Why is this not happening? And so it's like, well, when you talk like that about something and you get this animated, you gotta do something about it, right? So that's what I feel like I want to do. It's like some language technology that helps companies, because obviously, but then also culturally individuals and the neighborhood you're building to get along incredibly well, because I believe in cakes that I have and that I eat. And I think that's possible on so many levels. Like, if all these weird dichotomies, bro, Rich, like, I don't know. Okay, can I say, like, Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg or something, you can't make a hoe a housewife, But what if you want to be married really sweetly and you want to have great sex? Not possible? Well, I'm pretty sure it's possible. I'm very sure it's possible. Well, what if you want to do business, but you also want to make it with your friends? Well, you can't do that, right? Because business and friends don't mix. That's Gangstar, by the way. Friendship, business, all these rap tracks, yeah? And, well, Is it possible, Richard? You tell me, because I think you're doing it,
I mean, I have multiple friends on Twitter who are both hoes and housewives. Like the sex worker to stay-at-home mum pipeline is alive and well, and they do a great job of both.
And bless their souls and their families and their lines, because hell yeah, dude. And you what is the next dichotomy? It's like you can't be rich and wealthy and also be super nice and fund the projects we're talking about. No, quite the opposite, and so, and why wouldn't we live envision a casually nice living together, but it's not with randos, and you, I don't know, manage to finance your stuff together and all you need for that is good intentions and talking to each other in a very practical manner. And if your emotions come up and you get afraid and you have fear, you talked about fear in your story, then you need to be mutually accountable and be like, aha, there's fear, isn't there, Richard? And you say, aha, yes, I agree, Sam. So let's slow down a little bit and let's not conclude that we hate each other, because that's what happens all the time. And then you're just like, nope, I'm afraid of this, I'm afraid of that. Okay, let's take a day, let's cry together and let's figure it the fuck out, because we can.
I wanted to call back to the start of the conversation where you talked about truth and desire, because the vision that we have for a more beautiful world that is worth putting a great deal of energy into requires us to tell the truth about what we desire, to own it, say, honestly, I won't be satisfied until I live this way. And then you're going to have to handle the conflict of those people that have been recruited into that vision where they all disagree on the details. I wanted to get a pat on the back from you, or a little bones, for I was in a difficult conflict this week, and really high stakes, really people very invested in a topic, and multiple people in the room, and everybody in the room had enough maturity to keep track of their nervous system and notice when they're getting triggered. Take a break. Don't just say the first thing that comes to mind. Oh, that's anger, that's fear, that's shame. Okay, they have a message for me. Give me a moment while I sober up from the nervous system activation, and I'll get the memo and translate that into something that is worth saying out loud. Yeah, this is my thing. And we went around for 2 hours talking about the very difficult thing, and it's painful, and we still have feelings to deal with it, but everyone showed up with maturity, and nobody said anything stupid that accelerated the distance between us. Like, all integrity intact from all parties. I felt like, oh, this is actually possible.
Consider the back patted intensely of all intensely but warmly and lovingly of all participants. Yeah, that sounds fantastic. This is that, right? That's the MVP of more than one person. I mean, fuck, with every one person added, it gets like potentialized, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well done. That's great. I mean, this is true magic, I think. I think this is like pretty as close as we get to actual fucking magic.
And I hope it's clear to anyone listening the connection between having a fun week with your friends at a summer camp and developing the competence to be able to manage a high stakes collaboration with integrity and grace. Like, because we get to play with these, like, what happens if I go to tree week 2 and I just turn up my disagreeability 30%? I just want to see who I am in that mode. And, or if I ask for permission, Simon, can I be robust with you? Is it okay if I call you out? And you say, why, yes, we're having a good time. Let's hear it. Like that, yeah. These are the places where you get to inhabit a different version of yourself and just see what fits. Like, it's okay. It's okay. Maybe next time I will do it in private rather than in front of all of your friends. But this is something that I can take home with me.
Yes, very much so. I was wondering, since you're pointing out the fact that the question of whether people are with us on talking about this, and the fact that we are live on twitter.com, and we have in aggregate over 600 viewers. Hello. Maybe people want to ask some.
That's twitter.com. Twitter.com. There's a website.
Maybe some people want to ask some questions about what we're talking about. Maybe this is a good time for that. I feel like I've been ranting, you've been ranting.
Even if it's not a question, it's just a little miniature rant, just the thing that's bubbling in your soul right now.
Just rant along, fellow people. Yeah, can see if those come in. Should we have some innocuous conversation while we see it, if those come in?
Yeah. Tell me about your experience of the weather in past moments, days, weeks.
Weather has been quite good. It's cooled down a bit. It's cooled down a bit in Berlin. It's I think it's been a dry summer, and it's good. We had some rain. It was quite good. How about the weather over in Spain, near Barcelona, in Casatilo?
Well, we did have an early heat wave, as did you, which culminated with a very exciting thunderstorm. We went swimming while the rain was falling. We climbed the mountain and watched the lightning. I saw lightning, which I've never seen before, strike the ocean, and then, well, the sea. They call it the sea, Mediterranean. I'm used to oceans where I come from. And it went up in a tree horizontally a good 50, 60, 70 kilometers, and then sparkled out like branches on top of the mountain. Just like, bro.
That's absolutely nuts. It's hardly believable.
Oh, someone has a question.
Micro solidarity. Yes. What's your question?
I'm just hearing something.
I think a question is about to come in.
Oh, that is a great question.
How do you balance safety and transcendence?
Well,
what do you think that means?
Just interpret what that means.
Yeah.
I've actually heard a similar question myself, so it's really exciting to see that coming in.
Well, that's great.
We're inviting people to come and explore a different side of themselves and potentially to be transformed. And to say, hey, open your soul and be greeted by trustworthy people. Okay, how do I know they're trustworthy? What kind of measures are in place that tell me this is a hygienic place for a psychic surgery?
Oh, that was the full question? Wait. Yeah. Okay. So just one more time. I thought you were sorry.
Well, how do we do the how do we guarantee the hygiene for psychic surgery? Like, we're asking people to open and change themselves and to be influenced and to influence others. And what safety measures are there?
Well, my immediate instinct is, and it shows us, I think, that we do see maybe the world a bit differently, or would paint it in different colors. I would not call it that, first and foremost. Also, because it is scary words. How do we guarantee safety for psychic surgery? It's like, I'm sorry, I wouldn't call it that. That's not my, but not because I don't want that on my flyer.
You're chiding this poor commenter in the audience.
Well, I think it was your interpretation of the commentary. Right, so, yeah. and I'm just helping. Sometimes, okay, but let's take this. Let me take this in and say, sometimes people think things are, if I go here and then, and it's like fast and loud and well, not necessarily, I mean, the way I personally experience transformation, and the way that I would intuitively talk about it if I was talking about my own event and transformative activity that I invite other people to, is more akin to the way that you talked about earlier, which is, let's come and be normal together. and you will be surprised, And to the question of safety, I believe the safety lies in the normalcy. Like we're all kind of weird, so it's already going to be a weird event, and you're all invited to be like weird. Like, I don't want to place the curse of normalcy upon you, but I want to invite the level of be civil, treat each other well, if you don't know each other, be courteous and interested and whatnot, come with your best foot forward and maybe a nice attire, and do dress and do try and do experiment and see if it fits, but don't like do that thing where you, let's say, I don't know, I'm going to start a weird psychic game, upon the and see who can participate, and it's like, I've seen people do that and I hate that. And that's the type of shit where I would say, hey, buddy, it's usually buddy, how about you tone it down a bit for the benefit of all beings, maybe that's the level of safety. I mean, that's yeah. And yeah, I've got a lot of thoughts on this. I suppose I see myself ranting, but it's like, think about a tree. How does a tree transcend? Well, over a very long lifespan, and he can't rush it, and so come to tree week and don't bite off more than you can chew, and you have a room and retreat from time to time, and you have, or a tent, or and you're looking for safety. Talk to an organizer, talk to people you perceive as safe, be honest with your desires, say, hey, I'm not feeling safe, maybe, and and then stand up for yourself. And to the others is like, have a look around, see who's shivering in the corner, go to them, they need help, and again, you're a wizard, you're a magi, trust your instincts. Who do you feel called to? Is it maybe a bit uncomfortable? Wonder if the discomfort you're feeling might not be yours, but actually theirs. So maybe you're called to help them. Do you have that half an hour in your very colorful day at Tree Week or Casa Tilo? Make that time, so the safety is in the web of togetherness. Yeah, and this is my non-surgical, it's all slow, you would ask people who came to Tree Week or me, like, man, I've had transformative moments building upon the specific moments a year after. So
I would say you have an organ of discernment, and that's what you're pointing at, that actually there's a part of you who knows who's trustworthy and who's willing and able to help, and you can listen, you can train your ability to hear that signal, to read it, and you get positive feedback, and then rapidly escalates in its precision. We have another question.
What's the
5
question?
principles that characterize wizardry, from the turnip himself.
Oh, Henrik the Turnip.
Obviously knows something about wizardry with a name like that.
I think so.
Turnips being the most, well, not the most, but one of the magical fruits.
Very much so. I actually one time made the tweet that is, the wizard has 3 tasks. Tend to the goats and harvest the turnips, which is to secure his or her own sustenance. Sweep the porch, sort of in the same. And then the second one is practice the craft, whatever that may be. Maybe you're an ice wizard, maybe you're a fire wizard, or a social wizard. Third one is heed the call, which is when it's time to do some spells, do it. Don't be like, oh, maybe somebody else will do it. No, if you hear the call, it's your number ringing. You got to pick up. Otherwise, you're not a wizard to write your books. It's to save the people. What do you think the 5 principles that characterize wizardry are? I think you said 1, discernment. I think it's very wizard.
And that discernment is related to heeding a call. Like it's noticing you've got a spectrum of options in front of you, and every time you need to make a choice, what happens when you choose the most exciting option and commit to it and give it full vigor? Really don't leave anything to one side, but just take the brakes off your bicycle, commit to the jump, see what
Let
happens.
it rip. They also call it.
Let it rip. And I guess the other principle is a different way of saying your practice the craft, hone the craft. Trust that you have high fidelity access to subtle realms, and you specifically have your hand on the faders and knobs and switches of a shamanic DJ controller. And as a particular individual person that has a life history and a family and a culture and a lineage, you get some switches that nobody else has. There's a dimension of reality that you can influence that nobody else even knows about. And you can do it together and add all of these little switches together into a mammoth modular synth setup with 57 different patch cables and blinky lights. You can do it with friends. Reality has a surprising amount of detail.
And the last 3 of the 5 principles of wizardry are secret. You have to find them out for yourself. These are great principles. I agree with them.
I would like to heed the call to the dinner that is being served downstairs under the Tilo tree with a lovely group of people. New guests have just showed up at this place. And before I go away, can we take a moment and imagine, is there anything that has not yet been said that we would be disappointed if we ended the stream having not said them?
So let's have a look here. We talked about Triwi, Casatilo. We implied the time we fought and then made up and made a beautiful meta commentary about it. We didn't talk about making little videos. We talked about builder vibe shift, building weirdo village, reminisce on the great summer camp season of 2023 and how 2025 might actually rival it, making friends with wealthy supporters through Twitter respectfully, and money, ? And I think we've done a pretty great job at talking about all of them. I mean, we had the idea of talking about, the Jazz Camp, Micro Solidarity Summer Camp 3-week trifecta. The call goes out still. I think we're still seeking if anybody actually wants to do this, wants to visit more than one of the European Teapot Summer Camp of Love season, where we said the 3 of us, Jess, Rich, and I said we would maybe give some discounts and stuff, for if anybody wants to make a great summer Euro trip. Seeding the idea, and if you're interested in that, you should text Rich or me so we can know who's doing that. And I also thought about, trying to pair people up, like bring them together. I haven't heard much yet from people, but the chance is there for you to go on the unforgettable 2025 Summer of Love Euro Teapot Camp trip.
Yes, we need diplomats. We need people on a diplomatic mission, on an envoy. Journalists, doctors, psychic nurses, priests,
sex workers,
stay-at-home moms.
The
whole lot.
Very important, eligible bachelors.
Oh yes, I have promised everyone that comes to Casatilo will leave with a free husband. So we're going to need some more eligible bachelors. We've already heard from Benedict, obviously the most eligible new bachelor on Twitter.
Big fan, apparently. Big fan.
But that'll become obvious in due time. There's one more question from Incolor. Who's the most powerful poster based on vibes? I would like to recommend a new poster. Actually, mutual friend of ours. You may have a different answer, but now that I think about this one, we may both concur that this man has very powerful vibes. He's known as the fledgling wise old man, soilless for future, very powerful, loving, angry Irish preacher type farmer fellow who will collar grab you and give you just the right pats on the bum.
Yes,
Incredible vibes.
powerful character. Very powerful, lots of power, raw power. I think he's learning the teapot ways of gentle love, which he seems to be quite interested in. So yeah, very very interesting character. Strong plug. I mean, definitely definitely quite a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's. I don't know if I can come up with any new poster, but he seems to have found us, or we him. So that's pretty good. Yeah,
right.
man. I
Bless
can
up the
only
audience.
bless up and have a look around. Come to Jazz Camp. Come to Casatilo, and come to Tree Week. I think this is the big invitation. And if you watch this video, you know more about how at least Rich and I think and why we put on these events. And so thanks for chatting. It feels good to make I think these things want to be out in the open. The source is not secret. The source is for everybody.
Maybe sign off with one more little mammalian expression. Goodbye, darlings. See you on the timeline.
Happy dinner time.
See you at
Much
camps.
love. Love
Much
you,
love,
Rich. Say hi to everybody.
Bye, buddy.
What, now I'm here alone, live? What is even that? I think the show is over. I think you gotta go. Or I gotta go. Oh no. See you guys. Saying goodbye is very difficult. It's an art form, in fact. I have a YouTube video, The Art of Saying Goodbye. Find it. See you then. Bye. How can I leave? Ah! Ah!